Hello and welcome to Grumpy Gamers. You're here with me, Pete, and along with me this week I have Ben.
Hello.
Eddie.
Hello.
And the one and only Deadbeat Punk.
Hello.
Good to see you again. It definitely is. Well, it's
Pleasure.
now an hour and a half.
Third time is the charm.
Indeed, yeah. God damn it! And I wish that was only on this podcast, but no. Yeah, we're here, guys. It's Game of the Year.
It's go day.
It's Game of the Year.
Yeah.
It's Game of the Year. This is round 2. We've just spent the last 15 minutes doing a recording and it all fucked up, so we're starting again.
Well, let's be honest. Eddie fucked it all up after you failed to record.
No, hang on. It was all going fine. Then Punk wanted to see my face, so I had to run and get a camera. That's not my fault.
I do apologise. I wanted you to get a professional setting for your podcast. I wanted you to put effort in. I do apologise for wanting the best out of you, Eddie. I will never expect that from you again.
For the record, you now have a first sight. I mean, our listeners don't, so ignore that, listeners. At my parents' cat room. There you go, everyone. The parents' cat room. There's my little tray. Lovely.
Eddie, if you disconnect disconnect that fucking camera and it crashes, fucking
It's
go.
fine. The audio is set to microphone from the webcam. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah, your audio is already sounding very loud, so it best be good on Audacity, mate, because I'd be fucking furious.
Anyway, I'm sensing the same thing happened the first round, guys, which is that we're not really doing the show.
Sure.
We're drunkenly bantering.
Sure.
So,
Well, whose decision was it to include alcohol in these Game of the Years?
I don't think anyone made a choice in that. I think it was just sort of expected.
Obligatory, I think.
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
records sober?
And you know what I thought? I'm smart here. Instead of going, I'm going to have some beers, then have a bit of rum, I thought to not break up the podcast, I'll go straight to the quadruple rums and cokes. See, that is commitment.
That is
that's-
efficiency. That is
Thank
efficiency.
you, Pete.
Yeah, I like it. I'm very happy.
I'm sorry I mocked how professional you were earlier, but that's just redeemed you completely.
And it's great because now
Redemption.
I've already been drinking for half an hour, so this is great.
Well, the good thing is it's going to make our wonderful format all the easier to understand. Because as everyone knows on our Game of the Year or any other real vote for a top game, we like to make sure that we're as definitive and objective as possible. Now, we feel we've improved it this year because we definitely didn't have to come up with a slightly new style on the fly due to events that were tragic in circumstance. But what we essentially have now is 4 groups of 4 games with one from each of us in each group. And each round, they will be generated randomly, as will the judge for that round. That judge instantly eliminates one game after the initial pitches, obviously. Whoever they knock out this time round then gains all the power, as they will then vote off a second game, leaving us with a top 2. At that point, we revert to the original judge, who's going to assign them first or second rank for the knockouts. All very simple and clear, right, guys?
Absolutely.
Crystal clear.
Crystal clear.
I feel Eddie's was probably the most honest there, but good. Yeah, I like it. In the
It's
knockout,
right. Just explain as we go. I think that's...
I mean, this is the thing. People will understand the moment they see it in action, because it is going to be phenomenally so.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for, yeah.
Once we get to the knockouts, it's 1v1s with all 4 of us voting. If we get to one of our infamous tie breaks, it's going to be decided by the other Grumpy Gamer, the one who's missing, Kirk, via text, with no context given to him whatsoever. He just gets to vote on game versus game.
Like, Kirk probably hasn't played 90% of these games.
Yes,
so...
I know. That's why you really don't want Kirk's involvement.
I don't even know of half of them.
But how many of these games has he framed? He probably goes for sales figures.
There you go. So he might have actually seen the artwork of some of them.
Probably framed all of them, but yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking if he hasn't, the name Pentiment is really going to throw him off when we get to it.
Oh yeah, digital only games. He's got no fucking chance.
no
No
idea.
fucking clue.
And I don't rate my chances with that one. Anyway, shall we talk about our picks, guys, or at least shall we run through them?
Yeah, let's run through them.
Perfect. Shall I lead us off, or do you want to then?
Yeah, go for it.
Ideal. Okay. Well, this year I am bringing Elden Ring. Yeah. Yeah.
You
very
bitch,
balanced.
I wanted that one.
I know. I think we all did. Don't worry about it. It's there.
He always gets first picks with these
Is this
grubby little competitions.
why he gets to host? I could have hosted. I wanted Elden Ring.
Honestly, this all comes down to who makes the Google Doc, and I'm just always the one who does it
Yeah,
first.
you're the only one that's not. Yeah, smart.
So, I've brought Elden Ring, decided perfectly fairly. I'm also bringing Warhammer Total War 3, Pentiment, and Dune Spice Wars.
I'll go next. I'm bringing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Endling Extinction is Forever, Callisto Protocol, and Splatoon 3.
Callisto Protocol's in there.
It's in there.
Controversial. I am bringing to the table Kapluth, Banlord, Mountain Blade Banlord. I don't know what they actually call it. Banlord. Let's go with Banlord.
Mountain Blade 2, Banlord.
Mountain Blade 2, Banlord. There you go. Weird West and Warzone 2.
And I am bringing to the table Pokemon Scarlet Violet and Link. My picks will be Tinykin. This one confuses me. It's Live Alive. Either way, it's going to win.
Live Alive.
Tunic and Citizen Sleeper.
Oh,
Lovely.
You changed the order from the way it's written.
I know.
Three off altogether. I loved it.
Yeah. Didn't know what was coming next.
We have our 16, guys. These are the definitive top 16 of the year. Now, you may notice a few missing.
Yeah, I think people listening to this will be going, I'm sorry, what?
To be fair, if that wasn't their response from the intro to this one, I feel that they've probably missed something.
Yeah. I mean, this is our game of the year, and we've had to make some tough choices. I mean, there's some obvious ones I think that we can just mention. If anybody's got any more, then mention them. But some ones that we haven't brought to the table, but are obviously good games. God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, I bought that game. Yeah, I bought that just for the show because I assumed it was a sure fixture.
Yes, we did talk about this. We did talk
yes.
about this quite a while ago, didn't we? And we were both playing it, and well, it's just not in my choices, and it's also not in your choices. And Pete and Eddie haven't played it, so.
No, even when it came up, I looked at my phone and went, I don't actually want to lose any of them for.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's huge.
I don't want to. It doesn't beat any of the games that I've brought to the table.
I was going to ask for an explanation, but that's perfect. Yeah, you'd rather have those four here. Yeah,
it's not as good as Splatoon 3. Yeah, that's what we know.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a dig. I feel like that might have been a dig.
I don't know why you'd think that. I just picked a random one off the list. Anyway, there are others missing.
Played neither game, so that's good.
I think God of War Ragnarok is slightly highly regarded than Callisto Protocol. I think Metacritic it has nearly similar.
I think they're similar, Eddie. I think they're similar. I haven't looked recently. I imagine.
I think one's like a 70, wasn't that?
God of War might be that low. I don't know. I haven't checked. Very good. Triangle strategy. That was on your list, wasn't it, Punk, as a potential triangle strategy?
It was. It lost out to Live Alive. Just very, very similar in DNA, and Live Alive just struck a chord with me better. Again, not saying it's a bad game, but Sophie's choice.
Yeah.
We also had a Plague Tale Requiem that Pete and myself both played, and
I played that too.
Oh, you've played it as well, Punk. Yeah. And it just seemed to fall short a bit of the first one, and again, I mean, it's a fine game. It just doesn't get a look in here.
Yes, sadly so.
And the big hitter, the biggest of hitters that didn't make it, Stray.
Yeah.
That has not made it.
I know, I was really sad by that. Really
it's
sad.
the one that everyone was expecting to be in the list, I'm sure. I mean, God of War, they may have thought, but no.
Somebody's shouting about Stray being Game of the Year a lot. I'm trying to rack the brain. Who was that? It was a very handsome podcaster.
I don't know about that.
Well, I'm pretty sure multiple members of our team said it at some point, either in jest or seriously. But I could easily have brought Stray, but I think it's fair how it's ended.
I think I've brought Endling to the table, and that is a release at the same time, both animal type based games, and Endling is the superior game as far as I'm concerned.
Pete, I'm surprised because we were about a month ago fighting over it to have in our game of the year, but Expeditions Rome, that's a fucking game.
It is a great game. Again, I just didn't feel it matched up to any of the four. And I'm guessing you did as well.
Yeah, exactly. And how about Cult of the Lamb, Ben? I thought you were good. I thought you liked that game.
I thought it was all right.
Okay.
Fuck
you.
Anyway, talking about all the losers is probably
fuck you.
beneath us.
I think we need to obviously give a shout out to Cat Cafe Manager as well, guys. That's not.
That didn't make it in for you, Eddie.
Didn't make it because you know why? Because I know deep down that it's the game of the year. And I didn't want to bring it to a format like this where you guys will put it as like second best. So there's no...
Right, yeah.
You say this, Eddie. Is it just that it hasn't come on sale on Steam yet, so you haven't bought it?
No comment. I plead the fifth.
Game of the Year 2023. Cat Cafe Manager.
You say that, there's like 3 that I've got on my wish list. Like Anvil Saga. I know next year I'm gonna... You'll hear it in like March's what we've been playing, and I'll be, this is Game of the Year. But it's too expensive. It's £11. What do you want me to do?
I love it when you add context. That always helps. Right, guys. I feel it's time, because we've got to allow time for all the speeches and the rest of it. I feel it's time for us to assign our first group.
Ooh.
So,
lovely.
Ben, I believe you have a random number generator loaded up.
I do.
So do you want to start with mine?
Yes. So yours, Pete, is number 1, Elden Ring. Oh God, big hitter goes
straight into group 1.
Oh no! Please, Weird West. Please, Weird West. Please, Weird West. Number three. Come on.
Number three.
So Callisto. Oh no! Are you doing?
It's me. That's
God.
No, me. Weird West. Fuck you, Pete.
All right. Okay. It's Weird West. This is
number 4.
Is that from yours or from Punk?
It's from Punk. So that's Tunic.
So Tunic is in the group with Elden Ring. Okay.
And then number 1, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, I'm glad that's going out early.
Okay, right. So we have our group, but what we need is our judge. So counting me as number 1, Ben as number 2, Eddie as number 3, and Punk as number 4.
Why the fuck am I number 4?
Because you're the special guest.
We should put the special guest.
So
number 1, but
it's number 2.
I should be 1.
Number 2.
Ben's the judge.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ben is the judge.
Oh, that's such a shame. Ben, do not get rid of fucking Elden Ring just because then Pokemon will probably go through. Don't you fucking do it. I will leave this podcast. And I am everything to this podcast. Yeah, we all know it.
Look, you certainly help in all the administrative ways, for one. Anyway.
Look at those badges.
Anyway. We have our context, guys. Group 1, administered by Ben in this case, is Elden Ring, Weird West, Tunic, and Pokemon. That's what we've got. So who wants to start the pitches?
You know what? I should go first because I'm not confident on this one. Yeah, Weird West. I'll be totally honest. I had 3 very dead cert Game of the Years, and this was one that, because the guy said I had to add another one in, I was tossing and turning between this one and Expedition Rome. But I chose this one. It came out in March. It's a Devolver Digital game, so they don't miss, I believe.
They don't miss.
There you go.
Didn't we list several misses after we said that last time?
No, they don't miss. Yeah, that's no exception with this game. It's twin stick shooter RPG. It's got really interesting mechanics. It's got perks and abilities. There's a living world. You got 5 characters, which at first I thought was really shit, because with RPGs I like to immerse myself with one character, but it's quite cool. Like, they all kind of come in together at the end, not giving too much away. But it's a beautiful game in its own right. I mean, it's like an isometric view, but it's really, really nicely done, like you'd expect from a Devolver Digital game.
Yeah, they don't miss.
They don't miss. And to put it in perspective, that's all I'm going to say on this game, but this is the first and only YouTube review game I've done. So that shows my trust in how good this game is.
No, it actually shows that I didn't want to review it and I gave you the code.
Yeah.
There is that to it as well, yeah.
But, and it also shows that maybe this game is so good because I refuse to do one since. So. No. All joking aside, like, I thought I was really not going to like this game when I first got it, and I just couldn't stop playing it. I even carried on playing it after I did the video, and that shows, like, normally I get bored to shit. Really good game. The storyline's great. The mechanics are fantastic. It's a little bit weird, but that's what gives it the edge over other games like this. So, yeah, happy about this game.
Nice.
Okay. It's a little bit Weird West.
Very good. Very good. And it's set in the West.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Eddie. Punk, do you want to sell us on Tunic?
Tunic. It's a little fox. They're adorable. It's got a sword. They're less adorable. This is a throwback to the original adventures. I have crowed on about The Legend of Zelda on this very show once before. And yes, this is a throwback to that style of adventure. Notepad, pen out, writing down combinations, writing down shortcuts, things that may appear later. A lot of people played this game and said, it's a Death's Door, but it's shit. And they missed the point completely.
Oh, I like that comment, because then for people like me that goes, it's a beautiful game, but it's shit, then now I seem stupid.
Now you're the stupid one.
Now I'm the stupid one. Yeah, that's
he's attacking you.
I missed the point.
It's almost like you couldn't even set up a webcam without destroying a podcast. You're on that level.
Oh, good fun.
But yeah, a lot of complaints I got from the start of it was how hard it was. The first boss is a lot of people's drop-off point, quite like another entry on this list. But
yes,
if you were like me, you didn't explore properly. There were unlockable items that you could just breeze past and not pick up on. If you got that, the game was made to be played a certain way. If you didn't play it that way, it wouldn't click with you. But if you did play it that way, it clicked. This was, as I say, an awful throwback and just really set me back into those like dark evenings sat in front of the Super Nintendo, which nostalgia wins the battle every time.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
That's nice.
Shall I do Pokemon Scarlet and Violet before you do Elden Ring, Pete?
Why not?
Okay. Yeah, Pokemon, the new Pokemon that just come out, basically from when we were kids playing Pokemon Red and Blue. Open world Pokemon has been the thing that we've always kind of imagined and hoped that like a Nintendo home console could actually deliver on. Like proper freedom in a Pokemon game. And the amount that they push that at the start of this game, like saying you can go everywhere or anywhere you want, is quite something actually. They're constantly banging on about it. They've taken all the quality of life improvements that from the games like Arceus and had the spirit of the older games to pretty much make the best Pokemon game that's been made. Like, not technically. I mean, technically it's not fantastic. The frame rate is not good. And in handheld, I think it's fine. It operates fine. What do we expect from a Pokemon game these days? They don't look amazing. You're not playing it for that. But in terms of like,
are we supposed to be putting it down? Like, is that all?
This is honestly the most polite way of framing any of us have done. Like, no one's gone balls to the wall with this at all. Okay, go on.
No, I'm putting this down to build it up because there's more to do in this Pokemon game than ever before. It's got the gyms, it's got Titans and
fishing.
And it's got Team Star quest lines. So it's got 3 different type of quest lines on the main kind of quest. Then you get the standard kind of raids, the breeding, the competitive stuff, and in this there's also multiplayer where you could bring somebody else into your Pokemon world and they could just play the game in your world, not really alongside you. It's kind of weird, but just in your world. But this for Pokemon, this open world is an absolute evolutionary leap. I mean, I heard it on another podcast, but this is like Elden Ring Light. It's like Elden Ring Light confined in a Pokemon universe. Like, it is that open world that we've been dreaming of. And I said a couple of weeks ago on on the pod.
I forget how much Ben goes on these fucking
He
podcasts.
does.
We always say
He's
it's
a
a
talker.
fucking long episode,
He's a
and
talker.
now I remember. Even when I was looking at the format, I went, "How do we drag these out to 3.5 hours?" And now I fucking know.
I tell you what, Eddie. It'd go a lot quicker if you didn't stop fucking interrupting.
I don't know, because now I hope that you got the pressure behind you. So hopefully you hear that thing in your head going, "I need to be quicker. I need to be quicker."
No, absolutely not. So a couple of weeks ago, I said this was about 4 or 5 steps away from being perfection for this type of games. Like, if I had the voice acting, if it fleshed out the open world and had some kind of secrets and stuff, and the performance is better, then this would be a 90s game. But in fact, if the performance was better, it'd probably be 80s. But it would be a 90s game if it had just a few things just slightly better. Like, I think this is a fantastic game, the best Pokemon game that's ever been.
Okay, excellent. You did wrap it up rather swiftly at the end there as well, so I feel.
Well, I was near the end. I mean, Eddie starts complaining.
I was in his head.
Well,
Rent in space, mate.
I honestly, already think he is. Well, speaking of games in the mid-90s, I probably should come on to Elden Ring, shouldn't I? And I feel, Ben, regardless of how well I do this, can you edit in the final boss music behind me as I'm speaking about this?
He won't do that.
So Pete, I've already thought about that. If this wins, to have that music in, but then I thought, does that like get the podcast struck off or anything?
Stuff.
Well, Ben, it might do, but we literally ripped the first 2 minutes of Oblivion at one point, and no one batted an eye.
Didn't we? Yeah.
That was the most solid 2 minutes of content we've had as well.
I don't think they're checking for any of that shit. So maybe Pete.
Anyway, Elden Ring. What really needs to be said? A groundbreaking first in the Souls series, by far and away the hardest game this year that everyone wanted to play anyway, and just. Well, I mean, it won the Game of the Year awards a few weeks ago, so that's a good starting point for us.
But not the real one. The real one's on.
No, obviously not the real one, but the one that gets called the Game of the Year awards on YouTube and stuff. So,
fine.
Yes, agree with Keeley. That's really how you want to sell something.
I'm definitely. Normally, me and Jeff don't see eye to eye. I'll be honest.
Oh, you're on first name terms now.
On this one, I mean, he seems to think he is. Yes, but
on this on the pod, then we're first name terms.
Either way, it's Elden Ring, guys. This is a game that has been everywhere this year. It is.
You've literally said nothing about the game, Pete.
I called it groundbreaking, Ben. That's all I needed.
He did say groundbreaking.
But
exactly.
Ben, he doesn't have to. It's Elden Ring.
No, this is what he said. It's a groundbreaking first in the Soul series.
Yes.
In the series of Soul. How is that? What do you mean?
He did also say it was mid-90s because he said, "Let me talk."
Oh, he did say that. Yeah.
I did. Yeah. And bear in mind, it's groundbreaking.
Bring it back in. Don't worry. Give him time.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, he's got. Yeah, okay. He's going to finish with a flourish.
If he spends as much time as you, Ben, we've got another 20 minutes to sit
Well,
back.
I would like him to because I'd like to hear about the game.
Ben, you're the one person who doesn't need to hear about it. You've got about 600 hours in that damn game, and that was just in your first playthrough. Anyway, the first open world Souls game. I mean, it's insane. It's beautiful. The setting is incredible. It's one of the biggest and most well realized worlds you'll see. It's got mythology from George R.R. Martin.
Speaking to the mic, Pete, will you?
Oh, for God. It's got mythology from George R.R. Martin.
No, that is busting my ear holes.
That will ruin everything. Just put your leg down so that the sound actually goes towards the mic.
Fine. God, can't even be comfortable on my own podcast. Okay, that's cool. Wait, I should have known that.
This is how sure he is that Elden Ring's going through.
Yes,
a bit louder with passion, Pete.
Sitting up for this section.
You know what, Ben? You've ruined most of the passion for this. I was in a comfortable pose. Yeah, I don't. And the other bit
make
is,
it a lot easier to knock it out, Eddie.
Well, the thing is, if he knocks, You know what? With that in mind, I'm going to actually leave it to see if Ben knocks it out for me underselling it. Because I'll still say I've been a lot more positive about this than any of you were about your games. I have yet to list any negatives, which is beating all of you by about 2 minutes of talking. So,
yeah, but you haven't said anything, so I guess. I mean, what do you want?
What are you talking about?
Sometimes the game
without one positive, one negative. I mean, oh dear.
I've barely been given a chance to talk, but I'm happy with what I've said.
I can't fight it already.
Right. Okay. Good. Right. So now we're into the voting off. Is that right?
Yes, we are, and it's you who gets the choice, Ben.
Okay. So truth be told, I didn't really like Weird West or Tunic.
You didn't like Weird West?
No, I didn't.
Obviously,
I didn't
that's
get on
not
with it.
surprising about Tunic, because, I mean, I'm stupid, so I don't get it, but, I mean...
I can put you all in that camp. It's okay.
Benny called you stupid. I never called you stupid.
Eddie,
I
called me fucking stupid.
He called you stupid. I would never call you stupid.
No, you no, you never. I've watched a lot of Weird West, and I do like the look of the game. It's just I don't know what it was. It just didn't click with me like straight away. But I think it might have just been a time when a lot of other stuff was coming out. I mean, it was early in the year, wasn't it? It's like March.
It was in March, Ben, and of course February was when all the fucking big games came out.
I just don't think I had time to play it, and I think I turned it on for like an hour or so, and I was like, oh, it's not clicking. Let's move on. So I don't think I've given it a fair shout. Tunic, on the other hand, that has the nostalgia of games like Link's Awakening and games like that, right?
Oh, sorry, are you trying for a bit here?
yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than repeating material. Well, then, I forgot what show I'm on.
Right, so I wasn't a fan of Tunic. I didn't think it was that great. I didn't think it was doing anything that original.
Is that the one? Are you getting rid of it then, Ben, or are you just?
Yeah, I'm getting rid of it. It's
right.
gone.
Okay, Tunic's gone. My God. Okay. Good. Right. We know that.
If that was my game, that I would be getting rid of Ben's
You'd
game.
be furious now, wouldn't you?
No. I wouldn't be furious, Ben. I would just make a quick and rash decision about getting rid of your game.
No. But he's a better man than that. He's an intelligent man. He's an intelligent man. He's played a lot of video games.
I am a firm believer in long
intelligent
grass.
podcaster.
Are you going to give him a chance to speak, guys? Because as we discussed in the format earlier, it's now all on Punk to decide which other game goes out.
Go for it, Punk.
Oh, it's Pokemon.
Oh.
Yes!
It's Pokemon!
Weird
Why does
West
Pokemon
got
go? Why does
through!
Pokemon?
Oh, Weird West got through. God,
Okay.
I always do well in these.
How?
I don't know how.
It's Eddie. It's your deep line manipulation.
It
Ben.
is.
Oh, these mind games, you can't keep up with them. No, Weird West was one I played for a few hours and kept meaning to go back to.
Yeah.
Elden
agreed.
Ring. As all of you have heard, I'm sure you were very big fans of Filthy's Elden Ring stings. Listen to every
I
episode.
was.
Yeah. I will always remember Pokemon Scarlet and Violet because it leaked early. Those dirty pirates got their hands on it quite early. There is an emulator called Yuzu. Now, everybody wrote very, very angry letters to Yuzu because Pokemon Scarlet and Violet would not work on it properly. It ran like utter dog shit, and this is your fault. The game then released and on native hardware ran worse on the Switch than it did on the emulators.
Oh, shit.
Game Freak don't know how to code a fucking game. And why you have this on and not fucking Arceus that came out in the same year, I do not know. It's the better Pokemon game.
No, this is a better game, but technically,
No, it is not.
It's a
is the better
catastrophic
Pokemon game.
failure, wasn't it? Is that how
Well,
they
technically
good
it is.
when you included
It is, yeah, something like that.
Oh, they
It is the better Pokemon game. Yeah.
Either way, though, it is out. And
It
we
is
need
out.
you-
It is
we
out,
need you
yes.
then-
It is
It's out on
Ben.
its fucking ear.
So I think we all agreed that Weird West comes top. And
It's all on Ben. It's all on Ben to decide the
Is
order of
it?
the remaining
Oh,
two.
fuck.
Yes.
Even though he just said that he did not like Weird West.
Of Elden Ring and Weird West, Ben, what's your ordering?
Elden Ring is number 1, and Weird West is number 2.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh, how did I get through that?
I don't know, Eddie. I don't know.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Look, all we can
I don't
say
know.
is
I don't
the
know.
scientific
Beautiful.
method turns up results you don't expect.
Yes.
So we should move into group 2,
Oh, that's
which means that
Yes.
number generator needs to be down to 3 numbers, Ben.
Yes, it does. Very good.
So do you want to do mine first?
Yes, yours first.
You first.
You
2, 3,
have
or 4.
number 2.
So it's Warhammer.
Warhammer.
Wait, no, it would be Pentiment now. Sorry.
Yeah, it'd be Pentiment that time. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So you're doing 1, 2, 3.
Yes, yes.
I see.
So Pentiment for me,
Okay.
and
So
for
it's Eddie's group now.
Yep.
Eddie's group is number 1.
Keplerth.
Oh, Kepler.
Mm-hmm.
Kepler.
Nice.
Now
Indeed.
Punk's 3. Live Alive.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, Live Alive.
Live alive.
Live
Yes.
Alive.
Live a live.
Mine number 1. Ooh,
So that is Endling. Oh, it's heating up, guys. It's heating up.
ooh, this is good.
That's a
Now we're getting-
little indie darling, isn't
Now
it?
we're getting the big dogs.
I like this.
Ah.
Very
Alright.
good.
Oh, this time round, I'm the judge.
Ooh, very nice.
That's
Yeah.
very nice, because I think I could come out on top here. Come on, boys. Come on!
Oh, this
Okay.
is a strong group.
I'm feeling confident about this.
It is a strong group.
Oh shit, yeah.
Well, who wants to lead us off, guys?
I'll lead us off with Endling if you want.
There you go.
Yeah.
Please do.
All right, as Eddie just said, it's an indie darling, indie gem. When I talked about this game originally, I got very, very into it. Some of the development team even commented on our podcast post. Do you remember that?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Did,
nice.
Yeah, and they said thanks for the kind words, and they even talked up about it being against Stray in that opening week, and it was something they couldn't really plan for, it was a bit unforeseen, so a bit shit for them. So this kind of went under the radar because of Stray, but I think this is better than Stray because it's so much more emotive. You kind of play as the last fox mother on Earth to 4 cubs in this like ravaged environment, and it's like beautiful kind of graphical style. And it's all nice, and then one of your cubs is stolen, and the whole game is basically it's a very basic survival game, and the main goal is exploring the land and trying to understand what happened to that missing cub, and to try and keep your other cubs alive. So it's survival mechanics, as I said, they're quite basic. It's basically there to provide a bit of tension. So it's about food, a day-night cycle, getting back to your den for protection, having a limited time to explore and get clues and stuff like that. But the world is not open. It's kind of like Pentiment in like its tracks rather than an open world. And there's like a risk reward for going to get food. You might get shot by humans or caught or not get back to the den and
Pretty
stuff
high
like that.
risk, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And you end up teaching your cubs the different skills along the way that kind of helps with progression as well. But they can die. Like that's part of the story. Like the branching story paths is a thing, and
So
the endings.
if you're a
are
bad
different.
parent, your children die in this game.
In this instance, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, the different endings they happen depending on what you did, what animals you interacted, how things kind of panned out. And to be honest, the ending is the most emotion I've ever felt with a video game. And I wept at the end of this. Nothing has ever come close. I've never cried to a video game like that. Like, this game though, this is amazing. It's very positive on Steam, and it's 9 out of 10. It's an absolute under the radar indie darling.
Imagine trying to emotionally manipulate the goatee with the use of dead baby animals. You're a fucking sociopath.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, punk. You gotta do.
Yeah. Well, Punk, do you want to take us next as you spoke first?
Live alive. Live alive. Live alive. Yeah, this is basically a Super Nintendo RPG that was never localized over here, brought forward. But what made it stand out to me, one, I'd played the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I had a scary moment where I thought I didn't like RPGs anymore. Turns out I just hate shite games.
Okay.
Wow.
So it was nice to get back to this real RPG. It's like, no, you still love this whole system. The mechanics themselves hold up after all these years because it doesn't need that much tweaking. Because when you design a good game, it's always a good game. You don't need to fluff it up with stupid fucking cutscenes. Fuck, I hate Final Fantasy VII Remake. What got me the most excited about this is what they did visually. The 2D HD or the HD 2D, I'm not sure what way around they're supposed to go, but I think 2D HD sounds better, so that means it's wrong. But they were able to introduce camera angles. There were cutscenes brought into this. There's lighting applied to like sprite work. It is amazing what they can do with seemingly old graphics, but really brought it to life. What happens in this game is you pick a time zone, so it's not a solid 60-hour RPG. There are, I can't remember how many you unlock when you finish them all. One of them's a cowboy, and there aren't enough JRPGs with cowboys. But without getting too spoilery into it, when you do all the time zones, it then brings the heroes out of their time zones and combines them in an MCU sort of scenario, which, considering this was 20 years before such a thing was really popular, I just thought was fantastic. And I haven't heard a lot about it this year. If you do have a Switch, it's definitely worth checking out if you were a fan of older RPGs. Yes. There were no dead baby foxes and I didn't cry at the end.
The loser. Absolutely. What a loser of a game.
But you did
He
bring
didn't
a game
understand
from...
it.
Well, you did bring a game from 1994.
Stupid.
I was too stupid to cry.
Yes, it's a symbol of intelligence, I'm sure. But I do notice you have brought a game from 1994 to a 2022 Game of the Year show. I'm aware it's a remake, but still.
Come on, somebody brought Pokemon.
You know what? Very fair point. Very fair
That's
point.
already out.
Let's stop talking about
stop bringing up the past.
I will
Let it go,
once
Punk.
Nintendo will.
Yeah.
Touche. Yeah. Go on, Eddie.
All right, I've got Keplerth or Kepler-Earth or
Kepler.
Kepler. What a Ben! It came out in May. Developers are Taro, those famous people who have done like 2 other games. It's a 2D sandbox RPG, top-down view. It looks like RimWorld, which I think we all agree is the best game of all time. But this one is what we've all wanted while we play RimWorld, and that's just to be one person. There's survival elements, there's base building, there's farming, there's fighting, there's exploring, and then there's a few extra things like companions, there's pets, there's clones, there's added abilities, there's hospitality. It's one of those games where, and I love these kind of games, where you make it your own. So it's a game that you could literally play forever. And whatever you find fun about a game is what you'll find fun in this. I love base building, so I had great excitement about building this Wasai base, where I could host loads of people, have nice little areas for them, and gather their money, even though I didn't spend the fucking money on anything. But I also, when I first started playing the game and I wanted to learn more about the mechanics, so I talked about it on this podcast, I found a lot of fun in the exploring and the kind of finding different bases. And it's always nice in an exploring game when you just go out and there's loads of little different bits. It's a bit boring when there's only one kind of thing to find, but when you go exploring it, and there's that added tension of if I die here, then I'll lose everything sort of thing, or I have to go back and try and get it with all the shitty armor that I had before. It's a game that you just keep on playing. Oh God, the amount of times I would die and I'd turn it off and then I'd immediately just load it back up again. And I'd go, I need to play this game. It's absolutely wonderful game. For the reviews, all-time reviews, it's very positive on Steam. And recently reviews, it's overwhelmingly positive, with 203 smarts. So it's only getting better. I'm keeping up with the updates, and the devs are putting, probably because it's their only fucking active game, but they're putting a lot of effort into the development of this game, just making it better and better. So what a wonderful game. It's the only game, I'll add this as well, it's the only game that I've bought because I thought this looks like RimWorld, and I've actually kept on playing it. Every other game I go, that's not good enough, I'm going to go play RimWorld. This one I actually played after I realised that it is a lot like RimWorld, but just not as good as RimWorld. Yeah, absolutely brilliant game. Fantastic indie development. Yeah, one of the games of the year, I'd say.
Did it make you cry?
Yes, if it means I get through.
Was that the Machine Gun Boss, Eddie?
Yes, that's it. That's it. No,
you did say you can have pets. So
yeah, Ben,
potential to cry.
Your pets can die.
You know, you can also clone people and watch them die too.
Stop saying watch them die, Pete, because we were trying to get emotional and you're just getting some sort of sexual
You're just getting
thing from
psychotic. Yeah, sexually psychotic.
Sexually psychotic. That's a new thing.
I'm happy with the second half of that, not the first half. Psychotic is generally my starting point when we're recording. Anyway, I suppose that brings us on to me, where I'm of course talking about Pentiment. This is a historical narrative-driven game with a heavy focus on character development, insanely heavily stylized artwork, and choice-driven storytelling. Can you tell it's from Obsidian? I think you probably can. So in this one, you start out and you play as a clever illustrator who's caught up in a series of murders in Bavaria. and it's set over the course of about 25 years across the 3 acts. You end up working on multiple murders. There's a phenomenal reveal in the 3rd act.
Sorry, when you say working on multiple murders, it just conjures a different image.
Okay, trying to solve multiple murders. Yeah, I appreciate context. Thank you. Yes, when it's me, it's difficult. I would also appreciate playing this from the other side, Pentiment. But maybe for a DLC down the line. You are responsible for conducting investigations that really have a huge impact on the whole community. Everyone in it can be spoken to pretty much, and at certain points will have more to talk to you about. And every decision you make has a lasting consequence and draws you into a larger conspiracy. Yeah, it's...
Did it make you cry?
I should probably add. It didn't, but it is fantastic nonetheless.
Is that how we rate games?
Apparently, in this group,
them, yes.
I think it is. Yeah.
Well, I'm the judge, so I can quite happily say no, it's not. The way we're going
It's a contributing factor, Eddie.
It has 0 impact whatsoever.
Some impact.
0 impact. So
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, fine. Anyway, Pentiment, it's fantastic. It's got overwhelmingly positive reviews everywhere. It's a game that I never thought would be created, but I'm so happy it has been. And it's one of those that I keep ending up going back to, even if I leave it a few days. I just keep picking it up again, regardless. Which, if you know of me, that's quite difficult, because normally I'm on Warhammer Total War. So, yeah, anyway. That brings us to the judging phase, which is me, isn't it? So this is an interesting one.
Great covering of your mouth while you're speaking as well. That's really good for recording.
So much.
Now that I can see you, Pete. Now that I can see you.
Oh, is that why? I don't even have the screen up. I have our dock up, so I don't see. I can hear when Pete covers his mouth or puts his leg up.
Hey, I'm comfortable. Get over it.
Pete wanted the camera, so
I am not comfortable. For the records, I'm in the cat's room. I can smell cat shit.
Fantastic. Anyway, you're just putting off my judgment here, Ben, I can tell. But no, this is a tricky one for me, because obviously I'm not going to put Pentiment out.
No. And obviously you're not going to put Kupleth out, obviously, so let's get them out of me.
I like you saying
maybe
that,
those
Eddie,
little RimWorld clones.
This is where it gets a bit tricky, because
does it?
It actually does for me, Eddie, because obviously I've played Kupleth quite extensively, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay,
but
right,
I think
that's not a great argument.
But I think it's the one I'm putting out.
What?
I think it deserves to be in the top 16 games of this year, but I don't think it gets any further for me.
What, more than Ending and Live?
Live
you don't have to say it like that just to put it down, Eddie.
I know. Just me. Oh, honestly.
At least you didn't call it Ending.
Yeah. That's how Ben played it. It was Ending in that scenario, at least for several of the Cubs. But no, I think I'm going to have to put Kupleth out. I know you're baffled, but I think the other two games.
But what? Like, you really loved Kupleth. Like, you really liked it. Like, you recommended 3. You think it's brilliant, and you've never played the other 2. I'm baffled.
I've had to do significant amounts of research on the other 2, though, and I think they're both very good games. And I think
Endling has no mechanics in it. It's just because a fucking fox dies.
Eddie, it's got a story, a tremendous story. It's emotional. It's an emotional whirlwind.
Yeah.
It's an indie darling. You said it yourself, Eddie.
You said it about the group, you dickhead.
Either way, I appreciate you're wounded, Eddie, but it is Kupleth that's going out.
I'm so glad we got to see this pain.
I know. He's going to cry.
Yeah, it looks like it. It's the cat shit in my eyes.
I'm just shocked, because honestly, out of all of these games, I even thought Pete would vote for Kupleth above Pentiment. I genuinely would. I reckon if Pete was given the choice, I would have put money that he would put Kupleth. For the reason that I've just been voted out, I'm going to get rid of Pentiment. And hear me out before you all get upset and think it's a judgment. I came into this game of the year. I came into this game of the year.
What have you done?
With notes about Pentiment, and I thought it wasn't that good. I've played probably. Granted, I've only played probably 3-4 hours of it.
I want to go back to the Tunic argument.
I think it's a very well polished game, as in, like, if someone created it, it's obviously by a good developer. But and it's probably because there's fuck ton of reading. There's so much fucking reading.
I do forget.
Even I didn't mind the reading and I'm less of a reader than you, Eddie.
No,
Eddie, but Ben, it does load really slowly, so I imagine it was your pace.
Do you know what, as well?
True,
and this is quite bad, because I've had to play this alongside other games for this Game of the Year. I always compared it to Citizen Sleeper. And we'll get onto this. I actually think Citizen Sleeper is a fucking brilliant game. And because of that, I kept on comparing it to that. And I'm sorry, I think Pentiment pretty bad. So,
well, I just fucking completed that game.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. And it's a shame, because I really wanted to get rid of Live Alive or Live Alive, Live. But
Live Alive another day, bitch.
Nice.
It is. I mean, I do feel this is probably a surprise turn up for me.
If you told me before, I would have gone Pentiment and Kabler through deservedly, and the other two gone. And here we are, because of our stupid format and
I've
your
got a game in the
rules.
second round.
I know it's a new world for Ben. He's in the second round.
Ben's
I'm in the second round, baby.
Yeah, but just to make sure he's tempered, he is second.
Fine.
Right.
Okay.
Wow. So Live Live Alive actually won that round.
Live.
He won its group.
Wow,
Jesus.
Wow. Well done, sir.
Crikey.
Crikey, blimey.
So we're
Crikey,
on to the
blimey.
we're on to the
And you're
third
going to
group.
sleep tonight, Eddie, doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know why you're sighing, Ben. You just got one through.
I did. I honestly, Pete, my objective on this was just to get one through the first round.
Yeah,
Like-
it's been a while.
It's
been a while.
good for you, Ben, yeah, because
It's been a while.
Don't.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Like, usually you don't like my shit, so yeah, fine.
It must be said, I think I was influenced by Endling because it reminds me of another game I played, which the name has now fled my head.
Aka.
It's really annoying. Lost Ember. Aka.
Oh, yes, it's very, similar art style, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So I think I'm influenced on that because of it.
Right.
So, third group with just two left for each of us, Ben. So, RNG it up, baby.
Starting with your group, Pete.
Yes, start with mine.
Number 2.
So that's June.
Moon Spice Wars.
Number 2.
Oh, God, not too
Who are we
quickly,
doing
Ben.
next? What are you doing?
That's Eddie's group next. So that would be
Warzone.
Warzone.
2.
Warzone 2.
Warzone. Oh, okay.
Okay. Number 1.
Is that from Punk?
Citizen Sleeper from Punk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like it.
And number 1. Callisto Protocol.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Bon nuit, mon ami.
My lord.
Ah.
Ah.
Don't be Eddie the judge of this.
And yes. So in this case, Eddie is 1, Punk is 2. And it is Punk.
Oh, shit.
Interesting.
God, I got a stay of execution there.
Love it.
A brief stay.
Do you want to have a chance to talk it up then, Ben, just to get us kicked off?
Yeah. Okay. Right. Let me just rile myself up a bit for this.
Ben, can you start with the reviews first? Is that possible?
No, Eddie. God, you gotta.
He'll close with the reviews to make it really straight.
Eddie, you're not the judge, so how about you take your beak out? All right.
It made me weep, so I don't know if that's
Right. Okay. I loved this game. Absolutely loved it. It's a corridor action horror game that follows a very similar path to the original Dead Space games, but you're a guy called Jacob, very similar to Isaac, who's a smuggler. Things go pear-shaped on this moon, Callisto, and you crash land and you get sent to prison, and there's an infectious outbreak, and you're effectively entering hell. That's kind of the premise. Very Dead Spacey, obviously. The atmosphere, the lighting, and the sound design is absolutely top draw. The character models are exceptional. We're talking like Returnal levels of exceptional here.
Does anyone notice how much Ben rates character models as like a massive part of games?
Just noticing how close he gets to the webcam when he's talking.
I get into it, right?
His character model is quite fuzzy though as well, but yeah.
I thought my internet was doing fine. Right, the combat, very melee focused at the start. It tries to get away from that Dead Space trope, and I think the melee combat is really, really good. It's a leaning mechanic, not a timing based one. Then it moves on to a purely kind of gun focused game come the end. So it definitely moves towards that Dead Space thing more in the third act, but it does its own thing for about 2/3 of the game. It doesn't reinvent the wheel with this, but I think for what it sets out to do, it absolutely fucking smashes it. It feels punishing. It's difficult, especially towards the end. Very big difficulty ramp up, but I was held by the story and the characters. Now, like Eddie was saying, yeah, it's got a bit of an echo chamber of hatred, which is really unfortunate. I think
only
I was really
stupid
disappointed
people know that though, Ben, don't they? So
no, I was really disappointed because I was playing it at the time, and because I played it at release, and I was just like, oh damn, I felt really disappointed that people were having such negative kind of things to say about this, and because to me they just seemed very off point for what this game was trying to do and what it was trying to replicate in Dead Space, and I thought it really succeeded in doing so, and it was absolutely one of my favourites of the year, and I just couldn't really understand it. I just couldn't really understand what because I thought it was very clear what they're setting out to do, and I thought they absolutely smashed it. So that's why it's one of my favourite games of the year.
Okay, thank you.
I've got to admit, Ben, I'll jump on board, and I've watched a lot of gameplay footage. I've even watched people play for like non-stop 2 hours.
Yeah,
and the very first video I watched was Worth a Buy, who ripped it to shreds, and I really respect Worth a Buy. I think he's probably my first video go tour to see what a game's like. And the whole time when he was talking about how shit it was, I was just looking at it going, this looks fucking fantastic. This looks brilliant. I really want to play this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fair dues.
Okay, who wants to go next? Eddie, do you want to take us next?
Sure. What's my game? Warzone 2.
Here we go.
Here we go. Came out in November, so it's got recency bias as well. From Infinity Ward and Activision, as we know, it's a battle royale game. Well, Warzone is. But what's beautiful, it also came out with a mode called DMZ, which is a single-player looter, extractor, shooter, whatever the hell they call those kind of games. Of course, it's got the amazing gunplay from the COD games. No one can beat them. Everyone's tried, even my beloved Battlefield games don't come close. It's got stunning visuals. What's amazing about Warzone is the map is fucking huge, and yet the details are incredible. Literally today, this afternoon, instead of playing Pentiment, I was on Warzone, right? And I was going through... I was sailing a boat. Sailing a boat? Do you call it sailing when you're on a speedboat?
You don't sail that boat.
No, you don't. Drive it?
You ride it like a demon.
Don't say ride.
Pilot it, probably.
Pilot it?
Pilot.
That can't be right.
Boat.
Probably.
Well, I think so, actually. It sounds right. Anyway, I was piloting this boat, and I was zooming in with my thermal. Thank you. I was captaining a boat, right? And I was zooming into my teammate in the eyes, and he was just blinking. And it's just like, I know that's so sad, but I thought little games like that. And what was amazing was when I was trying to zoom in on watching him blink, the waves were hitting the boat. So I was going up and down, and I thought, think of the detail of this game, that the boat is... And that's just weird things that you find months into playing a game. And that's the beauty of these Warzone games. I mean, Warzone 2 is fantastic. It's had its bugs, but when you think of the size of the game, it's just a delight to play. DMZ as well is incredible. DMZ, I would say, is as well. I would say it's better than Rainbow Six games. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate out there, but trust me, I've played a million Rainbow Six games. I think some Rainbow Six games, like Wildlands, are fantastic games, but that's how much I think DMZ is amazing, and it keeps you playing. This game as well, the way they update it, the way they bug patch all the time, and also the way they change little things about guns, so it keeps you going back, it keeps you finding new weapons, it keeps you dipping into DMZ, then going to Warzone. On top of all that, it has the lifelong moments that you remember. You remember, like, when your first Warzone win, or you even, like, I've got so many recorded fucking things which are tragic when I look back and I go, why did I record that? That's just sad. No one else is ever going to want to watch that apart from you. But, you know, you sit back and you enjoy it. And if there's anything that I rate a game on, is how many spreadsheets I have of a game. And I have one for Warzone 1, and I have one in Warzone 2. Now, that's only one spreadsheet. To put in perspective, I think with Rimrod I have 5. But this spreadsheet I go to nearly every day. It's either every day or every other day to look at what could be good in these certain scenarios, just to give me that edge. I know people who don't like COD games are going to say, this is shit. But this is. I hated COD games before Warzone. I hated them. I couldn't stand them. But Jack made me play Warzone, and since then, I think these are the best games around. And I think this is no exception. The DMZ mode is a brilliant single-player game, and the Warzone mode is just great fun with your mates. Absolutely my game of the year.
I mean, is it not just because it's giving you a way to play Tarkov with your mates?
Yeah. Yeah, what do you want? It's Tarkov. It's Tarkov, but much better quality. That's all I've ever wanted.
You keep calling DMZ a single player mode. I mean, it can be single player, but it is very much a multiplayer as well.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, it's like, so I play my online games, and then I play my single player games. I play my online games as a bit of fun, like with mates or whatever. I don't really care about those games. It's weird to say that, but I just do it for the adrenaline, for the fun. And then I have my single player games where I play for hours and hours and hours on end, and I play for the fun. And they're the games I think about when I go to bed and I go, oh, that was cool when that happened. And that's the beauty of this game. It's fucking both. And that's the beauty. It can be anything you want.
That's passionate. I like it, Eddie.
Also seems patently false. Anything you want.
Be anything.
Be anything.
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 A top-down base builder?
Mm-hmm.
Anything.
Well, okay.
Anything.
Right, difficult times. Okay, Punk, go on, take us away with Citizen Sleeper.
Citizen Sleeper, I didn't think a big part of this game on the build-up, on release. I didn't think it looked like much, but happened to have a lazy weekend on it, and yeah, I rinsed this and kept going till I got every ending. Nice. There are certain games that didn't make our top 16 because they just didn't pack an emotional punch. And I think games like this may have something to do with it. Because even though it's bare bones, it doesn't have the full facial animations of others. Some of these stories, and again, you'd really want to delve into spoiler territory to kind of hit the points. One that especially stuck out to me is you're working on a spacecraft, one that's leaving the Eye where this game is set. Everybody working on this ship then gets entered into a lottery for a chance to leave the Eye, which is what a lot of people want to do. And how that unfolds and the characters unfold. And yes, it made me cry. There was a dead space fox. Yeah.
He doesn't even need to say this because he's the judge,
man wept.
But he wept.
If the man wept.
Yeah. Oh, you know what he's doing? He's saying that, then he's going to get rid of one of my yours game, Pete. So then he's very clever. Very clever.
Yeah. I'm clever enough for Tunic. But at its core, we've got an RPG with a management system. You get so many dice rolls a day. If you look after yourself, you get more rolls. But if you don't feed yourself or look after your body because you are a sleeper, you're a weird robot that emulates another body that's cryogenically frozen somewhere in the galaxy. There's depth to the game. There's a great story. And that little loop of looking after yourself, getting tasks done, a few tasks are limited by the days you can do it. So there is a routine. There's a nice rhythm once you get into it. And yeah, from going in expecting nothing, this jumped up to the top of my list for Game of the Year. Nice. And I can say that because I'm the judge.
You can.
Can I jump on the back of this? And it's not because you're the judge before you get on your high horse. There's two reasons why I love being on this podcast. Is one, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Like when Ben sends you that 14th abusive message of the week about, your legs up, so the video wasn't good or something.
Don't cover your mouth.
Yeah. Don't cover your mouth while talking.
Don't cover your mouth while speaking to a microphone. I mean, perfectly valid points.
That's basic podcasting. I mean,
perfect valid points, but that's fine. That's cool. That's cool, man.
I don't know. It seems a bit over the top.
Don't block the sound. Yeah, fine. Yeah.
There's two reasons I ignore Ben and carry on doing this podcast. Is because of the nice message we get from our listeners. I love that. I love hearing from all of you. So keep that up. And the second reason is because of this game of the year. And for what we've been playing. When I saw this game, I thought, this really doesn't interest me. Have no interest. It fucking flew off my radar. Then we made each other play each other's Game of the Year picks for the past month. So it's one that I downloaded on purpose. And it's the exact same vibes I got with The Ascent. And not only the vibes of the actual game, the kind of like cyberpunky feel to it, which I think is done fucking perfectly, but also because I absolutely love this game. And it's the same with The Ascent. I went into that going, I think this can be shit, but I'm literally just playing it because I need to play it. And I played this game and I thought the visuals were fucking beautiful. The atmosphere was perfect, like the cyberpunky outer world, like expanse kind of feel that I love in games. I think is absolutely brilliant, and it kept me coming back. And Pete, sorry to stomp on Pentiment even more, but like when I was chopping and changing between these, all I was thinking about while playing Pentiment is I wish Pentiment was a bit like Citizen Sleeper in these regards. So yeah, I mean it's out, Pete, so I'm not doing it for tactical reasons, but
it's already dead, man. You're just beating a corpse at this point, but it's fine.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think if you maybe play Citizen Sleeper like 2 months ago, I would have put this as one of my Game of the Years. Probably over Weird West, which I shouldn't say because that's actually true. So. If it's against fucking Citizen Sleeper, I've really dug myself a grave there, haven't I?
To be fair, and again, I'm aware Punk's the judge, I think all four of us here have played Citizen Sleeper at some point. All four of us have enjoyed it. If anyone out there hasn't played this yet, it's an excellent game. Check it out.
Absolutely. The only negative I've put on all my notes, which is a lot, is there's a lot of reading.
There is a lot of reading.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big downer for me, apparently.
Normally, I'd have expected it to put you off within a page. But, right, we have one game left, which is, of course, mine, and that's Dune Spice Wars. So, this is a 4X real-time strategy game from the same team that developed Northgard, but in this case, set in Frank Herbert's obvious groundbreaking Dune universe. We all saw the film last year. Yeah, it was at the time. So it combines elements of games like Age of Empires and Civilization into a sort of new tapestry. It's all based around spice, as you'd expect everything in Dune to be. And you get to play as several of the major houses, the Fremen of Arrakis, or I think it's a smuggling faction, are the other options. And you all are playing out for control over the spice and over the planet. It's got a really good gameplay loop, as obviously I'm going to say about most strategy games. But the difference with this one, as I talked about a couple of weeks ago on the pod, is that it's quite short. It's quite accessible. It's one that you can dive in and learn quickly, and you can finish a whole thing in 4 hours. You can finish it in 2 if you play at top speed. I wouldn't recommend that if you've not played strategy before, but it can be done. It revolves around building up a central base and trying to take control through obvious RTS battles, but also through scouting around, avoiding the sandworms, which do really come into it. And by the way, they're awesome. They are actually really well animated in this. And it's set with a really good atmosphere and with really good music. Honestly, it's one of those where it's not my perfect strategy game, but it is, I think, one of the best ones this year for more gamers, for more people.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you picked this one, Pete, because I thought it was okay. I thought it was quite simplistic.
It was a late entrant of mine. And I think it's actually what you're saying there. The simplistic bit, I don't think it is. There's enough juggling that you can make it a lot more complicated.
Right.
What it is quite significantly more accessible. And it's only when you start really ratcheting up the difficulty that stuff actually matters.
Yeah, I'm sure it does have the depth. When you start it, it looks more accessible because it looks more simplistic from the outset. I mean, I don't know if it is.
It's a cleaner UI.
Obviously, I've only played a little bit, but
It's a cleaner UI than most. And the other bit is, especially if you don't play on the hardest settings, you don't need to worry about things like intel. You don't need to worry about using your agents perfectly. The further you go into the game, the more difficult you play it, the more you need to use them. And particularly, one thing I'd also highlight for just how good it is, the difference between the factions. Because obviously the main one that most people are going to start with is Atreides, the good guy's house from the film.
Yeah, that's what I was.
And they are the simplest ones to play. When you start playing as the Fremen or the smugglers, you have to be really clever with how you do things, or you ended up with Imperial Sardaukar being dropped on you because you didn't pay your taxes right. Like, it gets significantly more difficult when you want to, but it starts out relatively easy to get into, and I think that's one of its biggest victories.
Fair play. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I need to play it some more, I think.
I'd recommend it. I'd also, with you, Eddie, whack it up to hardest difficulty and die a couple times, and you'll get into it a lot more.
Yeah, I did find it quite easy, and the problem is when a game's like a strategy game like that, when it's quite easy, it gets quite boring. So yeah, I think you're right. I think I'll give it another go and
try playing as the smugglers as well. They're probably the hardest one to master, but they're
really
plus
good. The main guy's really handsome, so I was thinking about it.
Yes, the main guy is quite handsome. I thought that. Handsome. I thought, oh, this looks like a nice one to be.
Yeah. handsome man.
I can imagine myself being that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Play them on the hardest setting, and you won't want to imagine being that guy. But
we're up to Punk then, I think.
We're up to Punk.
Yeah, Warzone 2, Zed.
Oh, I love it. Punk, I'm so happy with you. Thank you. All he did was list things that are good about playing multiplayer with your mates, and then talks about it as if it makes Warzone. Thank you.
That
Punk.
is a death blow.
Love it. Look how devastated they are. People,
one-hit kill.
Imagine, people listening to us, imagine how devastated these two are.
The TTK on Punk's words there.
That was a Warzone 1 sniper to the head. That
one. I didn't expect it either. Eddie, you gave a fantastic speech.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I just said Citizen Sleeper's world class, but obviously
Eddie, it feels like you're taking it quite personally when your game goes out.
Oh, that is devastating. I mean, you know what's funny? I don't give a fuck about Weird West. And Weird West is somehow through, and then two games I really care about. I mean, not as much as Bannerlord, but fuck me. You know what, Punk? All that shit I said about Citizen Sleeper, I stick to it, because when I appreciate a game, I think that is a world class game. So you are safe as houses. I am going to get rid of. I'm sorry, Pete. It's June.
I thought you might.
Yeah, right. It's because
you're putting Callisto through. Fair.
Yeah, well, I haven't played with Callisto, but I've watched enough of it to think not only do I think it looks fucking great, but I think with the combat, I think I would actually enjoy that more than the usual shitty combat you get in those kind of games. So I think I'll really enjoy that. And I'll be honest, Pete, I haven't enjoyed June, probably because I've played the world-class strategy games, you know, well, every game me and you have played. And the problem with that is I compare June to that. So don't get wrong, I'm going to give it another try. I'm going to play on hardest difficulty because you recommended it, and obviously you know your strategies. But for me, right now, out of all those 4 games, I probably would have got rid of June.
That's fair enough. And to be honest, I wouldn't say it's the best game for me or you. Yeah. I said this on the pod a few weeks ago. I think it's more that it's an excellent strategy game for people who aren't normally into them. If someone wants to get into it, it's the perfect one. And I've not seen it done so well in years. But June's dead, Warzone's dead. Punk, give us the order of Citizen Sleeper versus Callisto. But bear in mind, you can see the bracket below, and you can actually pick your matchup pretty much.
You can actually pick your matchup.
Oh, that's ultimate. That is ultimate.
So at this point, give us your ordering.
Oh shit, yeah, because if it comes second against his own, so obviously he's not going to fucking do that, is he? Jesus Christ.
Go on, Punk, order them.
1, 2.
What?
Is that Citizen Sleeper as 1?
Citizen Sleeper 1?
It's because remember, no one else can see the document, so only we know that Citizen Sleeper is above Callisto
He's above it on the dock, so I can see where he's going.
Right, that's the order we go with. Perfect.
I mean, I'm quite glad that Callisto got through, because I would have felt like 2 death blows would have been dealt to me, but I never expected it to go through. So
I never expected it to even make the list, so I'm very happy to see it.
I never expected it to get this far, but if I knew I could, I would have thrown Callisto in front of the gun so Warzone got through. But
I'm happy
Ultimately,
you didn't
no.
get that choice.
Ultimately, no.
Get that choice. Right. Oh God. So the final group with no need for any randomization at all is Warhammer 3, Bannerlord. God, the order got messed up partway through here. Bear with me 1 second. Tinykin.
Nice.
Tinykin and Splatoon 3.
And who's the judge?
Oh,
Yeah, who hasn't been? Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie. Oh.
Me. Yes.
Oh,
Right.
this is spicy, this one.
I'm going for a leak. Do excuse me for a moment.
I think we're pausing.
Okay, perfect. Our group is decided. Eddie, why don't you lead us off?
Cool. Mine is Bannerlord. Came out in 2020. I think, wasn't this in my game of the year discussion?
Please.
It was in your 2020.
Yeah, we've allowed it somehow. It slipped through the net.
Let me tell you why, Ben. Full release, including console release, October 2022.
Live Alive really opened the goalpost for this year, didn't it?
I did ask permission months ago if I could have this. So, this is from Tailwords Entertainment. It's the sequel to Mount & Blade, which I think one of the best games I've ever played. For those of you who don't know, Bannerlord is a strategy action game where you role play as just a person in medieval time. Well, obviously it's a fictitious world, but you can be anything. I hate to say that after saying Warzone, even though Warzone you can only be, well, a fucking soldier. But this you can be like a lord, anything, a lord, a king. What else can you do? I've got a list here somewhere. Bandit leader, trader, tournament champion, smithy, a party leader. You could be just someone like I do, just go from king to king. But basically, I mean, this is like an RPG game. I sometimes just play it for hours on end, just being a trader. But where this game really stands out than any other game is its massive, epic battles. I think if you have an Uber computer like me, you can have up to, I can't remember now, I think it's like 500 people, and that is fucking insane. Like, it's one of those games where you create your awesome moments where you can be on a battlefield. I've already told you about my amazing moments in Mount & Blade 1, but in Bannerlord, like, because the games are bigger, the battles are bigger, I should say, the scenery's better, so you've got more hills, more trees, so you can use it all to your advantage. For example, like the Batonians have shit cavalry, so you stay in your wooded areas, but there's nothing worse than hearing a roaring charge behind you as the cavalry slam into your amazing archers, and it's just awesome moments like that make this game like no other game in the world. I mean, this game came out of early access in October. The reason why I put it for Game of the Year 2 years ago, but I'll be totally honest, I think I said back then, it had a really bad start. It did. It wasn't a proper game. They shouldn't have released it in the way it does. But my God, the developers proved it once again that they're a world-class developer, even though they're a small team. They've patched everything. They've introduced awesome new mechanics. They've even changed stats around so that it keeps you guessing, like Warzone does, about new things. And I have 250 hours in this game so far, which doesn't seem a lot, but I play these games for the mods because they really make it easier for modders to manipulate the game. They've already got like a Roman style and a Game of Thrones style. There'll be a Warhammer one that comes out soon, which will put another 750 hours onto my marker of this game. It's an absolutely world-class game, one of my most favourites. And to put it in perspective, I have 3 spreadsheets of data on this game.
Oh, very good.
It's a very niche way of judging games.
That's how you've got to judge games, is how many spreadsheets you have.
How much Excel time it takes to play the game. Okay.
Yeah, or if I saw like how active I was on it, I'll tell you what, that's a feature.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Ben, go on.
I think this game might have a bit of tough time in this group, but okay, Splatoon 3. It's the best multiplayer game on the Switch. Builds on the second one in almost every way, I think. It's a third-person team objective-based shooter. So it's colourful, fantastic graphics, some of the best on the Switch. 60 frames a second. It's just pure joy to play. The music's fantastic. It's just it's just fun, kind of in a game. There's no death matches. It's just turf war, where it's painting the most on the floor and your surroundings. That's kind of the casual play, and then there's ranked multiplayer across kind of 3 game types. It's also quite deep. You've got your character builds. You've got each piece of clothing that you wear, that hats, tops, trousers, shoes, that type of stuff, has a main perk, has 3 kind of side perks which all stack to make your build. There's different weapons and kind of side abilities, and it's kind of like creating your loadout in Call of Duty or something like that. It's also got full single player. It's got Salmon Run, which is the PvE multiplayer available all times of the day, that type of stuff. But the main loop for me is that competitive ranked multiplayer. The skill ceiling is fucking immense. It's fantastic. It's got a great risk reward system as you kind of bet part of your ranking each time you play, which is really good. And it's also the best example of motion controls I've seen in a video game, especially in any shooter on any platform. The best players all use motion controls for like precision accuracy, and it really shows what that can do in a shooter. It's not revolutionary, but it is just an evolution on the previous game. It's a fantastic, great example of a live service game with their Splatfests and things like that. So in terms of non-Battle Royale games, it's the very best shooter that I've played this year.
Okay. Very cagey in terms of non-Battle Royale.
Hang on.
I did like how the 3 of us were rubbing our chins as you were talking.
I'm gonna interject there. Best shooter, better than Warzone? You're only saying that because Warzone's out,
he said
right?
non-Battle Royale.
I just said non-Battle Royale.
Oh, smart.
He may as well have said best shooter because Warzone's
what about DMZ? That's not a Battle Royale. Would you say it's better than DMZ?
No, this is what I mean by that is objective-based team games. So like when there's a 4-on-4
that's niche.
game.
Right, okay.
It's not niche. That's what most shooters are.
Right.
So, or most competitive shooters. So
it's better than Halo, I guess.
Overwatch, I think, would be the comparison, I suppose.
Halo was last year, Eddie.
Right.
Yeah, probably only Overwatch is the other comparison. Anyway, it's a good fucking game. Eddie, I wasn't having a go at Warzone. When would I ever have a go at Warzone?
Now would have been the perfect time because Warzone's already dead.
No, I couldn't do that, Pete. It's too good a game.
Yeah. Even though it's dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's between 8 and 16 in Game of the Year. It's somewhere there. All right,
Eddie would know that. Eddie would say, "You're lying about that. What can I trust if I then turned on Warzone?"
Yes,
that's a fair point.
And Ben's doing everything because he knows I'm the judge, so he's doing everything he can.
Hey, you got to play the cards you dealt.
It's the only shooter left, Eddie. Right, so Punk, tell us about Tinykin.
Tinykin, once again, I will harp on about nostalgia and a better time of gaming because everything is shit now. I have not enjoyed a 3D platformer this much since Banjo-Kazooie. Another hit that seemed to come out of fucking nowhere just landed and released one weekend. You run around, you're a tiny little thing, a tiny kin. You collect little tiny kin like Pikmin, and you use these little things to do tasks. What tasks, you ask? Why, they pick things up. They explode. They're fantastic. So the levels are set. I was waiting for somebody to interject, but sure, whatever. You are a little spaceman running around a house, and he acts like, what is this strange land that I find myself in? It's a fucking bathroom. You know what's a bathroom, you fool. The thing that makes this great, if anybody else played like 3D platformers years back, they got to the stage where they got bigger storage formats. The levels got bigger, you got more to collect. They got fucking so convoluted. It really got horrible. I do consider Banjo-Kazooie to be the end. There was Donkey Kong 64, and you had to change between 5 characters. Only certain characters had abilities to get certain places. Only certain characters could pick up certain items. That's all gone. It's just straightforward. You're in a level, you pick up bits, you deliver mail, you get collectibles. When you get to certain parts of the level, you unlock a shortcut that can get you back there. If you fall while you're exploring, you're straight back up, try it again. It's only 6 to 8 hours, I think, to go through. But it's such a nice package. Again, one of those games, once I finished, I'd happily repeat it. I'd go back through it all again. And I think, yeah, it deserves its place in the Game of the Year, and it's better than Warzone 2.
Nice. Very good. Eddie's the judge.
I'm going to have to get rid of it now, just so it's at least on the same level.
Bring it on.
Oh, and that leads
Smell
me.
the cat shit.
He absolutely must, yeah. Right, so Warhammer 3. But in specific, I want to talk about Warhammer 3 now at the end of the year, not when it was initially released in February. Because obviously on the podcast initially, I had some negative feedback at that point, which the more I look back on it, and in particular the more I look back on it since Immortal Empires came out in August, the more I had to have this game in there. This is a grand strategy game, a turn-based grand strategy that also combines RTS tactics. And that is a fantastic combination, as we know. And it's worked for, God, how long's Total War been going, Eddie? 30 years? Something like 30 years, and it's now almost been perfected in this game. You have the biggest world you'll ever see in one of these games, or at least that we've ever seen so far. It is vast. It's taking up an entire globe in one of these games. And it's filled with factions that are so completely different from one another that every playthrough is totally new. And even if you play the same faction twice, it'll end up a completely different show because of just how aggressive the AI is as well. It is a phenomenal grand strategy. It's kept me hooked for months. It'll keep me going for years. It's just... I'm just so glad to see the end of the Warhammer series because we've finally got what feels like what they've been trying to do for 7 years and what they've finally achieved. And I also realise it's incredibly hard for any of you guys to play this because you have to own all 3 titles to get to the good bit.
I just want to say, does this... I mean, this isn't one game.
It's 3 games, but it's 1 game.
But you have to have 3...
Ben, I'm judging it as it's its own game. I'll let you know.
Whoa.
Before you go
is half a game.
Is this because you didn't want to pay for it on Steam, so you played it on Game Pass instead?
Of course.
Right.
Oh, you're judging it as Warhammer 3, Eddie?
You're judging
what
one
came
of
out
the
this
campaigns.
year, Ben? What came out this year? Did all 3
I agree.
come out this
You're
year?
judging one of the campaigns.
Just Warhammer 3 came out this year, Eddie.
It did, Ben. You're right.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page.
No, that is... What you're talking about is completely wrong. Immortal Empires also came out this year, more recently, and is the more complete game.
I thought the third one came out this year, Eddie.
It did, Ben. It did. Yeah. You're not wrong.
Immortal Empires is part of the third one and only accessible within the third one. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know what? Just judge it. I don't care.
Right, cool. This is going to surprise a lot of people. So, Tinykin, I think we discussed it. Was it last week or the week before? Time has no meaning anymore. I think it's a fantastic game. I really do. I thought the visuals were nice. I thought it was quite fun to play. And it's funny you said about coming back to it because I still have it installed on my Xbox because it's the game that I'm going to play over Christmas with my parents because it's simple yet fun. And my parents, they struggle with the old complex games. I mean, It Takes Two was strenuous for my mum at best. But this is going to be great fun for them. I think they're really going to enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I think it's a good game. Splatoon 3 is a shooter. I think I would fucking play hours of it, especially with you, Ben, instead of the old DMZ. Now Warzone's out. This would be our little game that we play. And moving on to Warhammer 3, I have not been as disappointed as I am with a game product as I was with Warhammer 3 this year.
Because you don't have actual game yet.
Yeah, okay, so the game came out. All the factions are uninteresting. They're all very bland. Even when I got all the spreadsheets out, like I have with Warhammer Total War games, there was nothing interesting about any of them. It's not like you could min-max certain things. There were a lot of the factions that I just didn't want to play in the first place. I thought the map was disappointing. I thought the mechanics was disappointing.
Right, are you talking about the very small map?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Okay,
I am.
Okay.
But also, if you compare that map in the total map, you've got to admit it's the most boring part of all 3 of them. Because on the first one you have the island, the Emperor bit, and the second
you haven't
with
seen
the island.
the total map though, have you?
Yeah, of course I have. Yeah,
in game.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, it's huge, but it's not exactly
right. All I'm gonna point out though, by you judging it this way, is if you're going to judge it this way, you really shouldn't be judging Warzone and DMC as the same game because it's just 2 modes within the same.
Warzone's out, mate. It's out.
It's dead. It's dead,
mate.
It's dead. I was so disappointed with Warhammer 3 and what it brought to the franchise that I still have not bought it on Steam to play it as the Empires thing. Because I think everything that came in that edition was disappointing. Especially if you compare it to 1 and 2, I think it's almost a travesty.
So this is... I understand where you're coming from, and obviously I felt the same way as you in March, because neither of us like playing the evil factions. That's fair enough. That's a judgment. I like being evil with good starting factions. That's my best playstyle. Turning them evil as we go on. But the point is, it's the full game that I'm here for. It's the actual... what they were leading up to with it all. It's the same as if you said Warhammer 2, the Vortex campaign, the starter campaign before you play Mortal Empires is not very good, in my opinion.
But the factions and the map was...
Yeah, the factions are more to our taste. That's the difference. Anyway, aside from your judging, all I would say is at some point when it's on sale, get Warhammer 3, play Mortal Empires, Eddie, you'll love it.
Yeah, I definitely will, because of my huge... I think Warhammer 2 is fucking probably the best strategy game I've ever played, so...
Yeah, this one is better when you get to Immortal Empires. But I will admit, through all of this, we should probably explain to the listeners, it's gated content. If you don't own the first 2 games, you can't play the combined map.
And what's frustrating is I own 1 and 2 on Steam, and the third is on Game Pass. And I cannot, you can't combine them. So,
and I do admit that gating is a frustrating way of putting it in place, and I believe it is something they're looking to fix at some stage. Because they've realised it's causing people to have more negative feedback than it deserves.
Yeah.
The point here is the complete game is magnificent.
Well, the irony is, when this does come on offer and I buy it, I will probably play this more than every single game we have put into Game of the Year, including Bannerlord.
I would not be surprised if you do.
But unfortunately, for the reasons I've stated, it's going to be Warhammer 3 going out.
Fair enough.
My apologies.
No, I thought it might be. Okay, so that leaves me to knock one out. Ooh.
Not Splatoon 3, Pete, come on.
I'm not out of the woods yet. Fuck,
Not Splatoony.
Oh, it's my turn to knock one out. Oh, please, while we all watch.
Oh, this is tricky.
For the listeners, Pete's just going up and down on the top.
Pete's just Pete, you better not be clicking your fucking mouse.
Regular.
You know what? I need to get Pete a silent mouse for Christmas.
Ben's actually already made that joke on a different thing. On a previous podcast.
For our listeners, if anybody hears a mouse, all the time in every
single podcast,
it's either Ben or me. Because Ben, you even admitted it to you.
Yes.
Hey, I'm playing Warhammer 3 in the background.
Nice.
Anyway, got a really good dwarf campaign going on. Anyway,
very good.
Tinykins through.
Oh wow!
It's between Bannerlord and Splatoon 3, and I think I'll be honest, it's Splatoon 3 that's going out.
Yeah.
Bannerlord, I was just thinking it's a 2020 game. I don't like it. But I think it's a brilliant game, so I can't I don't think Splatoon is a bad one. I just think Bannerlord is a better game.
No, Splatoon being in the top 16, I'm pretty happy with that. It's fine.
Yeah, fair.
What do you mean you're happy with it?
Okay.
All you need to do was fucking name the game. All it needed to do was come out this year. That's the only qualifications to get in.
I had to bring it to the table, Eddie. It had to be one of mine,
Exactly.
Callisto Protocol, I'm very glad that made it to top 16.
How can you be happy that it made it to the 16? So you're saying you're happy you picked it?
Yes.
I'm happy that I picked it over God of War, yeah.
That's what you said.
Okay. I think a lot of people won't be happy you did that.
Right. So it's back to you, Eddie, to decide whether Bannerlord is number 1 or number 2 in the group.
There's 2 reasons that I'm picking Bannerlord as number 1. Not only, and this is obviously this is a fair way, right? Not only because Bannerlord is my game, but also it means it goes against one of my games in the quarters, which means one of mine will be in the semis. And it also means I'm not up against fucking Elden Ring. So for those reasons, Bannerlord is number 1 and Tiny King is 2.
I think that's Tiny King.
Yeah. Tiny King?
Well, yes, I suppose the method we've used has made this even fairer by doing it. Because Eddie now has a guaranteed semi-finalist.
I think on that note, Pete, maybe let's read out the quarterfinals.
It's time to define the brackets, yes. So in the quarterfinals, we have Elden Ring against Tinykin.
Ooh.
Live Alive,
Live
against Callisto Protocol.
God, that's a shit round, that one.
Yeah, but they're going through to a semi against Elden Ring. I mean, no, anyway.
Very good.
Citizen Sleeper against Endling. And Bannerlord against Weird West.
That's the strongest.
I mean, I think it's also going to be the easiest one because we'll just go Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie, which one do you think? So?
You may as well just pick. It doesn't even matter. None of us care. So, yeah. What we're going to do to make this more interesting, though, is random number generate which order we're going to do these quarterfinals.
Oh,
Okay,
So,
that's good.
All right.
That we're going to do number 2 first.
Ooh.
So
And
that
remember,
is-
at this point, we can have a tie, and if we
Have a
allow
tie.
it to go to a tie, then Kirk is
Comes into the
involved as the ultimate.
Yes, he'll never know
Decision
who
maker.
owns which game in this round.
I think. I mean, I for one don't like Kirk making any pivotal
No,
decisions.
I do not want
on this
Kirk to be a
podcast.
decision. No.
We
God,
tried that.
no.
It's a reason he's not around so much. Anyway,
It's the reason why he's not giving the year. No, we shouldn't say that.
Can't believe you told
Anyway.
him this was tomorrow.
Look, we've got to do all of this unrecorded tomorrow. You know that, right?
And then I've got to tell him that the recording went daft and we had to get Punkin.
Very good.
anyway, it's
And Ben's not going to edit any of this out either.
it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. But so this round, guys, is there anything either of you want to add to your games before, or do we want to
Which one are we
start
doing
with
live?
just
Live? We're doing
Live
Live
Alive against Callisto
Yes.
Protocol? Is there any desperate last pleas you want to go in before we judge?
Well, I think it's quite an astute round because they're both quite niche products directed
Yeah.
at certain types of people. And although one really knocked it out of the park and got reviewed quite well, and the other one sounds like Calypso, and I keep getting that confused every time I hear it.
That's a great ice cream.
But Calypso is much better than Callisto.
I think the one thing to add on my side is that there has been.
Hey-yo. Hey-yo.
Aga!
He's not going to do it. Right, fine. There's been a lot said.
Aga!
Brilliant. Yeah. It was a matter of time. It's a matter of time.
I had to wait for you to start talking.
Yeah. I got it. There's been a lot said about Callisto, a lot of hate, but I think a lot of people talking about it haven't played it, and also they haven't played enough of it, and maybe they didn't understand what it was trying to be. So yeah, they're two niche games.
Did they get put off by the review scores?
The review scores are fine, Pete.
Fine.
They're in the 70. It got like 75.
Nice healthy green on Metacritic. I don't know about Calypso.
Yeah, it got like 75 odd, I think. And
Green?
and
nice
Live Alive
yellow,
probably
is
got
it? A nice
in the 80s, I
healthy
think.
yellow, a jaundice review score.
They're not miles apart. They're
Nice
not miles apart.
hangover
the reviews,
piss.
I'm sure.
Okay.
But yeah, both niche games.
Okay. We've had some very underselling selling there. Do we want to, Eddie and I? Do we want to say where we sit immediately? Because I'm assuming people back their own games.
Say
yeah.
where you sit at the moment.
Go on, Ed.
Live Alive looks fantastic. I would love to play it, but I think Callisto Protocol could be an absolute personal favourite of mine, so I'm going to go Callisto Protocol.
Interesting.
Tough decision, but I really like the look of it.
Okay. Wow, I was leaning towards Live Alive, but I've now realised that would probably take it to Kirk.
Oh, no.
The thing is, I think both. I still want to play Callisto Protocol. I still think I'll enjoy it. I still think I'll have a great time. I'm not going to play it in 2022, but I still think
It will
I'm
come
gonna
down in
enjoy
price. Like, it's going to come down in price a lot, and I genuinely think it'll be
it
added to Game Pass at some point. And I think at that point people will stop playing this and go, "Oh, actually, this is really good." Like,
Do you think, Ben, as well, like the hype around it was pretty huge?
yeah, I think that's part of the problem. I think part of the problem
do,
was the
yeah.
hype.
I do.
I think it's absolutely tremendous. Like, if I had seen no reviews, I would go, "Wow, this is a 9 out of 10 game."
Yeah.
But then you hear that, I was just disappointed. It's not like I've been annoyed at the reviews. I mean, the reviews make sense. Like, they're saying the things that are in the game. It's just, I thought it was excellent.
You know what? It's Callisto Protocol. I think.
Oh, we have a
I
swing
think
vote.
No, I think for the same reason I was considering putting out Bannerlord, and for the same reason that it's that bit of it is the same game it was 20 years ago. It's a remake, and I love that. But it's why we didn't bring Mass Effect properly last year to this, and I feel that while I would probably very much enjoy playing Live a Light, wow, Ben is praying on high.
He has no idea. This is the reason why Tunic got knocked out so early, because we're in Kirk territory now.
I mean, it being Kirk territory may have an impact, but I think I'm going to go with Callisto Protocol. Okay.
Nice. Okay, because Pete, you are normally the most stubborn fucker in the world. You will stick to your guns until I'm dead. Until even I will vote out fucking Bannerlord, you'd still stay. So that's it. You know what? I think we found a solution.
I'm reserving my stubbornness for the right moments as well, because then it's someone else's going.
Yeah, because now you're the nice guy who's swing voted. Yeah, nice, very good.
Who got Callisto Protocol into the semi-finals of Game of the Year?
Yeah. So many people. Remember, God of War was not included in the conversation.
With good reason.
It's when at the end you find out this is all a massive troll. This whole was a bit for a month.
And obviously God of War is Game of the Year, obviously.
Right. Next quarterfinal. I keep wanting to say semi-final. Next quarterfinal is number 4. So, Eddie, you may as well just tell us which of these you're backing.
Bannerlord versus Weird West.
It's tough because I feel like Bannerlord's not going to go further.
Make you cry.
It did. Actually, you know what? Bannerlord has almost made me cry for the same reason of like games like RimWorld, where you go so far and then you lose so much. Because Bannerlord, if you lose a battle, you pretty much. But in the end.
Yeah, I was say, isn't that Linkin Park's lyrics?
Yeah. It doesn't even matter. No, I'm not going to sing. Weird West was a fantastic game. I was very pleasantly surprised by how good it was. I was very pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed playing it as well. It's crisp, it's beautiful. Even the developer sent us loads of shit, and it was fucking wonderful stuff, like extra bits, like background stories and all that kind of stuff. Really, really good. But I think Bannerlord as a game, if you just hadn't be Bannerlord, I would go, this is one of the best games I've ever played in my life. So for that reason, Bannerlord's going through.
Okay, well, before you say that, I just want to point out to Ben and Punk that if one of you wants to go with me, we can make Kirk choose instead of only having any say on which of his 2 games goes through.
That'd be amazing, because then if he goes Weird West...
Exactly.
Kirk won't know either of those games.
Kirk has no idea. Of them. That's the genius of this system. So
he'll probably think Bannerlord sounds better.
Well, let's find out. That's all I'm saying.
So Eddie did this and then thought, Bannerlord's going to have an easy passage.
Yeah, but instead...
You know what? I don't care, because I don't think either's going to get through, so... Whatever.
Well, actually, Eddie,
through the semis.
Eddie, look at what this is up against. It could have a run through to the final here. So what are the... So Eddie's going Bannerlord.
I'm going Weird West.
Fuck's sake!
Because only one other person needs to now.
Definitely like Bannerlord more. Definitely, like 100%.
I know, but this system is just perfect for definitive excellence.
Hey.
Eddie did this to himself.
Ben, do you want to tell us which way you're going?
Can we just text the frame a game, boy?
Yeah, I'm going the opposite way to Punk. So yeah, we're getting Kirk involved on this one.
I'm so happy.
Okay, he's gonna take a few minutes to respond because he's frantically looking up what these two games are.
And we're gonna move on to the next quarterfinal while we wait for that result.
Fuck my life.
Yeah, I know, and I'm so happy about it. So the next one up is stop rolling 2s and 4s. Come on. Anything 1. Okay, we're on to the first one.
Ooh, so Elden Ring versus Tinykin.
Elden Ring versus Tinykin.
Tarnished, you are fucked.
Put your foolish ambitions to rest, Punk.
Finger, butthole.
So I get the feeling we're both back in our own games here. So we should probably assess where Ben and Eddie sit.
I'll go first. I didn't give a shit about these kind of games, Elden Ring games, the old Souls games. Ben and Pete kept on banging on about. In fact, our very first podcast.
The
feature was "I'm not a real gamer." Me, who chucks so many hours that many girlfriends have broken up with me for the reason that I'm too much of a gamer. I am not a real gamer because I don't like this. I haven't played the Souls games.
I mean, that was all a bit. We didn't actually believe that, but that was a bit. We had to have an angle at the time.
Break the fucking portal. Come on, mate. Jesus Christ.
It was early on, you know.
And I wasn't excited about having to buy this at full price, especially when the other full price games you made me play have been a pile of fucking shit. But I think Elden Ring is as close as a masterpiece of a game as it can be. I enjoyed it, even though I don't care for these kind of games. I fucking loved it. I replayed it probably 5 times. I still haven't completed it. And it is one of those games that I do want to get back into, but I know that once I get back in, I'm going to chuck another 100 hours in. So I am, don't get me wrong, Punk, I love Tiny King. I think it's brilliant. I'm going to play it with my parents, but I don't think anything can beat Elden Ring this year.
Oh no, it's sheer arrogance. I'm sticking with Tiny King. I mean, I love Elden Ring too. I did
you got to stick with your own game.
I got to bond with my best friend over this game and call him once a week to chat about it. It's not too often you get to do that when you're a grown-up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ben?
But I'm digging the heels and fuck you all.
I played 70 hours of Elden Ring in 10 days. I mean...
Yeah, I heard that, Ben, and I was actually more worried than impressed.
Rookie numbers.
I mean, I wasn't working at the time, so I treated it as a job.
Really?
Weren't you? I'm pretty sure your girlfriend on one of our streams said you were working that week, and that made me more worried.
Look, the time I charge is the time I charge, but we move on from that. But yes, Elden Ring could not possibly go out to Tinykin.
Okay.
I'm afraid.
Sorry, Punk.
Wrong.
I mean, objectively correct, but fair enough. Fair enough. Stick to your guns.
Right, so far we have Elden Ring has gone through against Tiny King. We've had Callisto Protocol has gone through against Live Alive. We have a result, guys.
Did you not text him in the group chat, by the way? Because we just now have to trust you generally on what you're
saying.
Pete, you shouldn't have your phone on you.
It's on airplane mode.
I haven't got anything come through.
So you don't get text, do you?
I'd have got the evidence later, just to make sure you weren't defrauding.
Okay, well, I'm not defrauding. I can send the pictures. Yes, so I text him, Mountain Blade 2, Bannerlord versus Weird West. That's all I text him. And his response was...
Aka.
Weird West.
Oh, why? Why the fuck did we give Kirk that power? Why did we do that?
For exactly this.
Has he given an explanation?
No, there's no context. There's nothing.
We've asked for no context from him. Just
and there will be when we talk to him in a week's time. And we go, Kirk, what was that reason? Oh, it just sounded better. Bannerlord had 2 next to it, and I didn't remember the first one. Brilliant. I don't know what accent I'm doing there, by the way. Kirk does not sound like that. But...
Can I just say, I'm so happy that you lined up 2 of your own in the same group. Because it made me want to do that.
I'm so happy that you brought it up. Because Eddie did this to himself.
I know.
Yeah,
he positioned himself.
And I don't regret it. I don't regret it, because it would have been Elden Ring versus Bannerlord, and then it would have been Tiny Kid against Weird West, so I would have had none in the semis. I've got my name in the semis. I've got a little ticket.
So you've won then.
He's in the race.
I've won. I'm happy.
You've won.
I've won.
You're absolutely happy.
Right. Right. Let's bring it down to the final quarterfinal.
Me and Kirk out of words.
I think you should. And we have Citizen Sleeper versus Endling Extinction something. I forget the rest of the name.
Nice.
Extinction is forever.
Good.
Thank you. I had to scroll up. Endling Extinction is forever.
Something,
it wasn't meant to be a neg. I was looking at Zencast and not the dog. So... I presume you're both sticking to your own game.
Oh, yes.
Yes, 100%.
So, Eddie and I's view, do you want to say anything just before we make a call?
I only want to say that Endling is the most emotive game that I've ever played. I think storytelling is excellent in its way.
Yeah, you cried at it. We remember.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Ben
I wept at a manly...
Yeah.
I did... Yeah,
Ultimate
there's 2 things that I do
it.
cry to. 2 things that you cannot... I defy anyone to watch Armageddon and not weep.
I think a lot of people have done that.
No, from the opening credits... From the opening credits through the film, you must shed a manly tear
A manly
copious manly
I think
tears.
75% of this podcast haven't cried at Armageddon, but yes.
No,
Well,
you haven't
I'm
watched
being
it.
very quiet over there. I don't know.
It's possible.
If you haven't cried to Armageddon, you're just too stupid.
Oh, you just didn't understand it.
It's Tunic all over again. Right. Okay. Eddie, do you wanna cast your judgment on this?
I loved how passionate Ben was about Endling, and I would love to play it, but I genuinely think Citizen Sleeper is a fucking marvelous game. I think like the atmosphere, the writing, everything is as good, if not better, than The Ascent, and I voted that. Was it 2 years Game of the Year?
I just wish I had voice acting though.
Last year's.
I just wish I had voice acting.
Ben, absolutely.
Honestly,
Just change the game, man.
You probably would have seen Pokemon through more than one round.
Yes, yeah.
Again,
I mean,
recycled humour. Let's go. Move forward.
You know what? I'm also voting Citizen Sleeper.
Yeah, okay.
I think Endling is beautiful.
Fuck you and fuck your fox.
Ben was going to tag the fucking developers again, I bet.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I got through to the semis. Oh.
Well, Ben, you egg-shaped hero, why don't you tag Damien, the perfect person to get involved with, talking about Citizen Sleeper? They developed it. They're active on Twitter. They'd gladly send you a free copy if you weren't such a cunt.
Right, okay, well...
It's on Game Pass!
It's on Game Pass. It's already out.
He's already played
So is
it.
Weird West, and you were boasting about that codes. Oh, we got code for Weird West. It's on Game Pass. We got code.
Hey, you should have seen what came with that code. There was like a book and everything. It was
To be fair, there was a lot that came with
It was fantastic.
Guys, can I just say, for once on one of these episodes of any kind, whether it's a top 3, whether it's a game of the year, any of these, everyone involved has one in the semi-finals.
I've noticed that.
Ben is not out.
The only
Ben
real
is not
surprising
out.
thing is Ben's
I'm not
through.
out, baby.
I think that's what you mean. Yeah.
Ben is
I'm not
not
out,
out.
baby. I'm not dead yet. I mean, I've probably got a weak contender in this lineup, but I know Weird West is the weakest, but it's on the right side of the group.
Yeah, well, fucking Kirk was thanks for that.
I'm still so happy.
Right,
about
so what?
And
So
Pete,
what?
you're the reason that got through. And you would love that. Like, that would be one of your favourite games. That, you know.
I can't wait. I can't wait to play it. It's on my wish list. Man.
It's on my wish list too, Eddie.
To be fair, by the way, Ben, Endling is also on my wish list.
Yeah, it should be.
It
Should be.
is. I'm looking forward to playing that one day. But
Fox made the
for
ultimate
today,
sacrifice.
Loves dead animals.
the game we have, the 2 semi-finals we have are Elden Ring against Callisto Protocol and Citizen Sleeper against Weird West. So we're not going to random number generate out of 2. We're just going to start with Elden Ring versus Callisto Protocol. Does anyone want to say anything?
Elden Ring, please.
I will also take one Elden Ring, please.
Wrap that to go,
May
sir.
I order one Elden Ring, please?
Shit, that's a full house. I don't think we've ever had that before.
Oh no, I was going to go Callisto Protocol.
Yeah. Fucking bet you would.
Let Kirk decide.
I tell you what, Ben, change your vote. We'll get Kirk to vote.
It's
He
already
probably
happened.
doesn't know either of them, so.
No, he just put Elden Ring out because we said it was too difficult for him.
Yes, it's true.
That was our initial review. Eddie, you'd love this. Kirk, probably too.
Kirk, you shouldn't play it. It's too difficult for you.
Right, so on to the second semi-final. We have Citizen Sleeper against Weird West.
Okay, I'll
anyone
just
had
do a
a
little
pitch?
spiel. I think Citizen Sleeper is one of the worst games I've ever played. There was so much reading. There was it was difficult. There was no voice acting. I tell you what,
I know.
Weird
Tell me about
West has voice acting. Has voice acting, guys. Go listen to it. It's really well done. And Citizen Sleeper's boring, and it goes on and on and on.
I'll have a Citizen Sleeper, please.
I'll also go Citizen Sleeper.
I don't know about this because I thought Citizen Sleeper would be
Holy
amazing
shit,
if it
if
had
this
voice
goes to
acting.
Kirk, he might say Weird West, because obviously he has no fucking logic behind his bits. Holy shit,
No.
Ben, do it. Do it. Put it in the power of
The thing I have
Chosen
against
One.
Citizen Sleeper is just that there's so much text.
There's
with
a lot
no
of reading,
voice acting.
Ben.
It's just
and
like
no voice acting.
it's
no voice acting.
it's worse than Disco Elysium ever
It's
was.
worse than Disco Elysium. I mean, Disco Elysium was a famously very good game, but yeah.
But originally, Eddie, it didn't have voice acting, and it was still amazing, but
Yeah.
that voice acting that it added in on everything was
remember, not
amazing.
only Weird West had voice acting, but all the merch that comes with it. If you saw the books and the backstories,
I did see those books.
You got
Eddie
that
was
email,
wonderful.
Ben. You saw the PDFs. You saw those PDFs, Ben.
I did. I sent them to you. I gave them to you.
You
Eddie.
got given.
You did.
It doesn't really sum up the experience.
Hey, your
every
man,
gamer's gonna
you
have.
keep quiet.
You know why people get so paranoid about reviewers being swayed by free talk?
Just listen to one of our Game of the Years.
It was fucking
Wonderful,
PDFs.
though. Honestly, it was fucking what those PDFs. They took time over
You
those.
didn't
one
even
of
get a banana yellow gaming chair. It was a PDF.
Oh, Ben,
I would kill for one of those Cyberpunk chairs. I honestly would.
Look,
gotta
Ben,
be
do you
Weird
want
West.
to send this to Kirk?
It's got to be Weird West, hasn't it? Let's be honest.
The problem is, Kirk could probably put Weird West through, and I cannot allow that.
Well, Ben, that's not fair. You should
can't.
give him the choice, you know?
No,
We
I
all
cannot.
respect Kirk's opinion.
I couldn't do that because there's people listening to this and they know that would be absolute nonsense.
That's not fair. I think we should give him the chance, Ben. At least ask the question, you know?
at least give him the
At
ultimate
least
choice.
Give him
Give him the
choice,
pure decision
Ben.
ahead of all of us.
I respect Kirk's opinion. Kirk is never wrong with his decisions on
He
games.
can't hear you right now, Eddie.
Nobody will try and
I've
clip
never-
that as his message tone for the rest of the year.
I've never heard you say that line. I respect.
I respect Kirk. Kirk's opinion on Dead Space was next to none. It was fantastic.
To be fair, to our listeners, a small outtake to go into our personal lives for a second. There was a moment where me, Eddie, and Kirk were together in London a couple months ago. And we were talking in a restaurant, waiting for some food, and two people at the next table leaned over to speak to Kirk and go, "Are they your friends? Because they don't sound like friends."
Yeah, in case any of our listeners thought, "Oh, they bully Kirk behind his back." No.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, in case any listeners thought it was all for show, you know.
I'm just saying, put that in perspective when you hear Eddie praising Kirk.
Hey, Kirk is not only my best friend, but he has a great decision on his brain, and it's to choose one of these. So Ben, I agree. Weird West.
No, he won't get that choice this day. It's Citizen Sleeper.
It's
Okay?
Yeah.
Citizen Sleeper.
I'm
okay.
also voting Citizen Sleeper. That's a full house.
Eddie wanted me to say Weird West, and then he was just
And
going
then
to
I
go,
would
yeah,
have
okay,
said, no, I would have said Weird West just because then I might have a choice.
Eddie wants to be in the final.
Ben,
That's the
be a
thing.
lamb. Message him anyway, just because I just
Oh,
want
yeah,
to know.
okay.
I just want to know
okay.
if that was an option.
That's it. Yeah, okay, good point. I'm going to
That's-
message him. He replies very
We-
quickly, so...
Wait 5 minutes after that and send him Elden Ring Tunic.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
I
my God.
actually really want to do so. Yeah.
Oh yes,
Right,
Elden Ring
let's do these
Tunic.
before the finals.
Oh,
Citizen Sleeper versus Weird West.
Send Elden Ring versus Tunic as well, and just let him pick. the
Okay, I'll
two.
do that straight after.
To be fair to Kirk, he probably actually has looked at because we already put our list down.
Oh, no, he'll know exactly what they are. Just
Yeah,
interested in his
exactly.
choice.
Yeah.
I reckon he'll go Weird West, though. Let's just
No,
see.
surely
He's read
not.
it.
I don't believe
He's read it.
He couldn't.
He's writing.
I was really
can't.
tempted to
He
say
can't.
send him Elden Ring versus Weird West.
Citizen Sleeper.
Oh, okay.
Well done, Kirk.
Okay.
Very good, Kirk. Very
You
good,
made
Kirk.
one
Okay.
horrific decision tonight and one slightly above average decision. So
Okay.
in total, you are a fucking mess. You are no longer my
Okay.
best friend, Kirk.
Okay, I'm going Elden Ring Tunic just to see. Just to see. We just want to know what would have happened if this had gotten through to the wire.
Fucking hell. Where did
Elden Ring versus Tunic.
Where did Tunic end?
It went out in the groups.
Yes.
Against
right to
Weird
fear it.
West. Fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry. And Elden Ring, to be fair.
Tunic would have gone
No.
for Elden Ring Tunic.
Are you serious?
Hence
Yes,
why it
this
went out
is-
so early.
Yeah, this is our
There we go.
objective
And are you
choices.
serious? Did he say Tunic?
He did say Tunic, yeah.
Well, okay.
Holy fuck.
That would have been the definitive
That would
objective
have
choice
been- that
between
would have-
Elden
yeah.
Ring and Tunic.
Tunic
The scientific
would have
method
been
never fails us, guys. Okay, we're on to the final. We're on to the
Okay.
final, boys.
Tunic would have been
And it's not
Oh,
Tunic.
Kirk still may come into play now.
It's not Tunic. It's Elden Ring versus Citizen Sleeper.
Yeah, let's see.
Citizen Sleeper, it did keep a good frame rate throughout the whole game.
You didn't have to play the PS4 version rather than the PS5 version to get a better frames.
Yes, you idiot. You were playing the PS5 version. What you wanted to do was install the PS4 version on a PS5.
That's what you really wanted to do.
I'll go first. I have you noticed in all our Game of the Years, I love an indie. I absolutely love an indie. Not only because I kind of judge it on a different scale, because I think you've got to be a really good computing brain to come up with an idea.
You take resource into account, don't you?
Exactly. And then obviously the resource of Elden Ring was infinite, some might say. Citizen Sleeper, what an absolute game. Absolute beautiful. Absolutely love it. But like, I generally think Elden Ring is very close to perfection. I think it would be damning on it to put, even though Citizen Sleeper is a very good game, and for an indie game it's fantastic, I still think Elden Ring will be in a conversation of ours in 10 years' time of, is it the best game of all time? And I think it will be in the top 5. So for that reason, I think I'm probably definitely 100% Elden Ring.
That was a quick upgrade. Probably definitely 100%. Okay.
No, because I was always going 100%, and I was thinking, am I 100% or am I 99%? And I was like, I'll stick to it. Stick to my guns. If Tunic was here, obviously Tunic, but it's not. So
yes, I like foxes when they've got swords. And not dead
I did
babies.
like the grass and the way you walked through the grass. I did like that.
Okay. I mean, Elden Ring, I think, is one of the best games ever. I think it's got everything. I think it's what's brilliant about it is that it's everything about it is crafted. Like, you go to a new area, you're like, wow, Jesus Christ! You've got these other games like Breath of the Wild. We mentioned Pokemon earlier, but they've got so many things. When briefly out very early, obviously, don't need to rub in.
He's getting the kidney shots in as he gets around.
The world, though,
oh yes, the Northern Irish holding a grudge. Would you ever believe it?
Very good.
What Elden Ring does better than any other game that I've played is just have that mystery round every corner, like the dungeon everywhere with the new boss. It's just you've always got something to do. And what they brought into the Souls series was just another opportunity for, open world suited it so well. You don't have to go down this and beat your head against the wall. It's just what they did was magnificent. I don't think they realised what they'd done and how good it was, and the reception it would get. It's truly incredible. I've never played anything like it. I've never had a game take me like that game, I think.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds pretty definitive. And I think it does say a lot, guys, that pretty much all of us wanted it as one of our choices.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I had it as one of mine. Then I thought, Ben and Pete, you've played the previous one, so I had to fall on my little fox sword.
Yeah, I even offered this to Ben. Ben said no, it was fine.
I've got Calypso, thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't offer it to Punk because I didn't want him winning. But no. Okay, it sounds like we have a winner, boys, and it sounds like we've towed the same line as everyone else.
Yeah. Well, the ending won it all.
Agreed.
It's a real shame because we usually come up with something a bit different, but when it's that definitive.
And I sincerely doubt anyone else is going to have put Citizen Sleeper in at number 2. I sincerely doubt that.
Yeah, agreed.
I think I think it is a brilliant, brilliant game.
Well, we can say it's our number 1 indie game of the year.
Definitely. And I also think we can point out that we clearly have a thing for cyberpunk indie games. Because that's 2 years in a row where it's been in with a shot of winning. And if it wasn't for Elden Ring, it seems like it probably would have done. So, yeah.
Yes.
Well, wow. There we are. And we've only gone slightly over 2 hours in our take 2.
Yeah, this is pretty much a normal show, isn't it?
It is. I mean, that's already long.
Little bits to cut out.
Tiny little moments to cut out, yes. We will leave them behind.
When Eddie got up and did the helicopter with the litter tray.
Thank God it's not going up on YouTube.
It's so small.
Anyway, that's what it is. Elden Ring is our game of the year, as it has been in so many places.
Very happy with that.
And I think it is the
How predictable. Are you proud of yourself?
Well, you know what? I'm fucking glad for this, because when we normally do these, something like fucking Pokemon gets best RPG or something stupid like that. So I'm very fucking glad for once in our fucking lives we've actually come with what we all agree is like, because if fucking Kirk was here, Tunic would probably bloody make it. So, you know what? I'm bloody happy that for once in our fucking lives,
intelligent enough to understand what that game was going for.
Yeah, there you go. We're all
screaming. Listen,
the rest of us are too stupid.
See everything.
Punk,
obviously.
Kirk versus the world.
And the evidence speaks for itself. You've recorded all this.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right. Shall I do the socials?
I think you should.
If anybody would like to disagree with us. I mean, come on, Elden Ring.
Come on now.
Or maybe God of War should have been in there.
Come on, the Citizen Sleeper Massive. Rise up.
Right. Email us, podcast@grumpygamers.co.uk. You can tweet us at grumpygamerspod. You can go to our YouTube channel, Grumpy Gamers Podcast. That's the full name. We had somebody message in this week, and they were asking which one we are on YouTube, because there are quite a few Grumpy Gamers on YouTube, but we are Grumpy Gamers Podcast when you type it in full, and we're the same on Twitch, all one word. Punk, do you want to do your socials?
WTF, dyw.co.uk. Everything's there. Simple.
I wish we had something simple like that.
Yeah, it would be nice.
I wish we did, yeah.
Fucking more grating every time I hear it. Oh, man, maybe if you go over to Twitch, and maybe if you're over Twitch, you might take a left and go over to YouTube. And, we don't have Mixer anymore, but, Tumblr's going to make a comeback. We've got Twitter for now. But if Twitter goes, we've still got Hive. Everybody likes Hive. It's really going to take off. It's such a fantastic system.
Look, our MySpace page for this podcast is fantastic.
It's rocking. Nobody on there, but it's fucking rocking.
You can also download us on LimeWire. I don't know.
Foxwithasword.exe.
Well, anyway, all banter aside, guys, I think for this week and for 2022, it's GG.
Yep, GG.
GG, guys.
GG. Cons.